Disclaimer: it is not 100% the fault of the students that Temple might shut down. Temple University shouldn't be opening campus in the first place. But if you are here and not following the proper steps, that is on you to face the consequences. I understand that people want to go out and to have fun. And I also understand that the institutions and society in which we live in has already exacerbated the situation that is COVID-19. But if you are not trying your best to do your individual part in at least toning down these issues, you are a part of the issue. Hello, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Hafiza. I am a lifestyle vlogger, blogger, YouTuber, Instagrammer, micro-influencer, all of those things on this very here web platform and forms. Feel free to follow me on my social media if you want to learn more about who I am. Everything's down below in the description box, and we're just going to get right into it. So, as you see, I am in a different space. I moved into a new place recently for the fall school year, which is what this video is going to be talking about, because Temple is going to shut down. That's just it. The reason why I say that Temple is going to shut down is because of many reasons. But today I want to talk about the people and the students who are going to influence this shutdown because of their selfish actions as of late. And what I mean by that is the recent gatherings and parties and everything that I've been seeing on socials, and why it's just not okay for these things to be happening in the age of COVID. Like, none of this is okay, but people are just treating it as like a regular summer. But it's not a regular summer. This is a very different summer that we've never dealt with before, but people are still going out, still talking to people, still seeing their friends, everything like that. And like, that's cool if you're doing it safely, but there are a lot of people who are not doing it safely, and these people are going to be the people that are coming to Temple, that are going to UMiami, that are going to Miami University in Ohio, like all these different places, and they're going to be bringing these things there, depending if your school is going to be in person or hybrid. And those are going to be the people that are going to influence Temple being shut down, other schools being shut down, because they cannot keep their hands and their bodies to themselves. Hi, so I filmed this like 2 weeks ago, and this was right around the beginning of training. So as of now, many schools have had to shut down, both elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, even colleges. University of North Carolina had to shut down within a week, and the reason why they said, besides them opening up prematurely, was because of the cluster cases and of COVID that they've had on their campuses due to people partying. Other schools down south and in other areas of the United States have had to shut down due to people partying. If you care about your health and the health of others, stop throwing parties. Stop going to parties, or you will end up just like UNC. You will end up like the schools in Georgia that had no masks, just people in the hallways, and had to shut down prematurely. Schools shouldn't be open in the first place, like I said in my disclaimer. But if you are not following any safety protocols, you are a part of the problem. Thank you. So, as always, when I have these things, I have my notebook. Like I said, I've been seeing way too many people who have not been socially distancing this entire summer, and mainly because of functions. Like, they are forgetting all the social distancing rules for the sake of functions. My sister said it best. These people, a lot of these people, their lives revolve around partying. Their personality revolves around partying. And because they don't have that outlet anymore, they are struggling. So you know what they're going to do? They're going to completely forget the fact that we're in the middle of a global pandemic, and they're gonna go out and party and drink and grind and booty shake and all that stuff with like no care in the world. And is it really that serious that you need to be in a crowd with sweaty bodies right now? Is it that serious that you need this? I get relieving stress. Parties are definitely fun for some people. I don't like parties, but I know people like parties. I know why people like parties. But knowing that there is such thing as a pandemic happening at this moment, and most of those people, if not all of those people, are not getting tested before and after they leave this party. So you don't even know if anybody's asymptomatic or is coming down with symptoms around you. Like, because of all of these things, wouldn't you think that it's best for you to just stay inside? Like, I get staying inside isn't necessarily the fun thing to do. Like, I've been struggling myself being inside since March. Like, it's been 5 months now since we've had to kind of be inside. I've been struggling myself. You know, I'm tired of watching YouTube every day, tired of watching Netflix every day, tired of talking to the same 3 people every single day. But I also understand that there's things outside of my control that are preventing me from doing the things that I can't control. So I'm going to do the best that I can in order to mitigate those things. And I'm not trying to make this video to make people feel guilt. Well, I want there to be some sort of guilt, because I'm hoping that this guilt will stop you from doing the things that you're doing. But I don't want to put the onus 100% on people doing these things, because I also understand that this situation has been like blown up because of the lack of governance that we have been receiving from our governing bodies, from the state governments to the national government and everybody in between. They have not taken the necessary procedures in order to ensure our safety, or in order to at least enforce social distancing procedures and everything like that. So it's not necessarily individuals' faults. However, if you know that there are things that you're not supposed to be doing and you're doing them anyways, you are also a part of the problem. What, you need to be in a room with 100+ people right now? Like, is that a necessity? It's not a necessity. And yet people are still doing it anyways. And it really boggles my mind. And what boggles my mind even more is that people are willfully posting themselves doing these things on social media. Like, have you no shame? Have you no shame? You are out here already not following social distancing, not wearing a mask, not getting tested, all these things, and you have the audacity to post it too? Because that just goes to show your lack of concern for this entire situation. You have like no concern whatsoever for yourself, for the safety of others, for the safety of your family and whoever might be in close proximity with you. And you don't care. And you don't care so much that you're gonna just post it as if it's another regular day, that there's no global pandemic, nothing like that at all. Like, it's not cute. It's really not. People are even literally like going out of state in order to go to these things. Like, I remember seeing one time this woman, she went to like Nevada or something like that, and they were having like a whole ass like concert there. And I was like, are you serious? And she was getting like twerked on. And I was like, are you serious? Like, are we not in a pandemic and you're getting twerked on in Nevada? Like, is it that serious? And there's not a mask in sight. Nobody's, at least cover your mouths. Like, nobody's covering their mouth, or if they have masks, they're wearing them as chin straps. That's not effective. You might as well just take off the whole thing. Like, what's the point of that? And people are also like maybe going to the beach or having barbecues in their backyards. And I get maybe like 5 people, but if you're having like 15, 20 people, but you're saying, don't worry, we were wearing masks before we took this photo. Don't worry, we were socially distancing. You're not. There's no way for you to properly social distance when you have that amount of people in your proximity. And you're taking photos side by side hugging. That's not social distancing. So I don't know what you think you are doing by putting these disclaimers in your captions when they're basically ineffective. And if you know that you have to put a disclaimer in your caption, you also know that you don't have to be seeing these people necessarily in the moment. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I think people fail to remember that people are dying from this situation. Like, this is not something that's abstract. This is something that is real. It's been recently reported that there has been sorry, I got distracted. Fruit flies. It has been reported recently that there has been over 5 million cases of COVID that have been reported. Those are the only cases that have been reported. People are still not getting tested in the capacities in which they need to be tested. And I can link the New York Times article below that shows just the numbers of the states that are doing the testing right and not doing the testing right. There are still tens of millions of people who have not been tested properly in this country. But we have 5 million cases reported. 5 million! And you think that going out to brunch with your socially distanced table, but everybody's mask is down and everybody's eating and talking and spitting and coughing and everything like that, that's safe? That's okay? I don't think so. And this hits home for me especially because I have essential workers in my family. I have essential workers in my family who have had to get tested weekly, on a weekly basis, twice a week to once a week basis. Thankfully, they've been negative each time, but they're still putting themselves at risk in order to help others while you're putting yourself at risk for your own selfish purposes and putting others at risk for your own selfish purposes. I had family members who contracted the virus. Thank God they're still alive. Thank God they're still here and that their symptoms weren't necessarily super severe that caused them to be incapacitated in any form. Thank God for that. But what if it didn't? What if it was worse? You need to realize that while it might not be directly affecting you, things can change in an instance. In any moment, something can change. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know who you're seeing. You don't know who you're with. And you're not taking the proper protocols to even check up on yourself after. That's the worst part, because I know these people who are going to these things, they're not, like I said, they're not getting tested afterwards. Are you disinfecting your entire body? Like, are you doing contact tracing and hitting up the promoters and be like, hey, like, I just want to make sure that these people, like, did they get tested? Like, all of these things, are these any qualifications? I don't think so. And to all the party promoters who are still hosting these things over the summer, shame on you, honestly. Because you guys have such a large platform and you're using it so irresponsibly. You have the ability to influence other people in a positive manner by telling them, letting them know, hey, we want to party with y'all just as much. We miss y'all so much, but we know we got to stay inside in order to beat this thing. So just follow us, stay inside, and we're going to do some things maybe virtually. I know that there's been a couple of DJs who have been having virtual dance parties. They've been doing that via Zoom, via Google Meet, things like that. And it's been working. People have been going to them. People have been having virtual happy hours. Like, there are so many things that these party promoters can do that are not doing them. And a lot of them come from this Temple area. A lot of them come from a lot of other college areas. Colleges that are going to be coming back in the fall. You're going to bring this into neighborhoods that you do not belong to. And you're going to make the neighborhoods situations even worse. Another reason why I wanted to bring this up is because COVID has shown that it is not an equalizer like people were saying initially. COVID disproportionately affects Black, Indigenous, and people of color. It disproportionately affects BIPOC people. And that is something that needs to be emphasized because it goes back to the system and a lot of the racism within the system that exacerbates this issue. For Black people, a lot of history of racism has put a lot of Black people in positions that they cannot control, whether it's low-income housing, whether it is housing in cramped up spaces, whether it is health issues like diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, etc. These things that they did not necessarily have any control over because of the racism within the system. COVID preys on that and makes it worse for them compared to their white counterparts. Native American people, the indigenous people of this country have been disproportionately affected by COVID. But you don't hear much about them because not only are they in such small numbers because of the genocides that have been happening against them, but this country does not serve the indigenous population in which they should. There's been many funds out there that have been trying to help indigenous people, black people, etc. because of COVID, and I highly recommend you guys look for them. I'll also link them in the description box below. But you need to realize that this issue is not a matter of just, oh, I can't see my friends anymore. There are people dying, and there are people dying more simply because of their identity marker, simply because they're black or they're Hispanic or they're indigenous. To bring it back to like why college students and like why Temple students need to be careful is because Temple is in North Philadelphia. North Philadelphia is an urban place within Philadelphia. North Philadelphia has a large population of people of color living in these houses and these apartments that Temple students occupy once they get on off-campus housing. If you are a student throwing parties in the age of COVID, not one, you're disrupting the night for your neighbors who still have their own lives. Like, their lives do not center around you. You're a guest in their neighborhood. They're not a guest in your collegehood. That's not how this works. That's number one. Number two, you risk bringing more people into their areas that they don't know who they are and they don't know where they've been, and you risk infecting them and harming them in this age of COVID. Number three, you're all coming back into this area. There's going to be an uptick in trash. There's already been a trash issue in Philly in general because of COVID, but that's going to increase. You don't know what's being touched, what's being placed, all of these, there's so many different factors that need to be considered. A lot of you are probably not going to get tested because I don't think Temple's requiring people to come and get tested. They're highly recommending it, but they're not requiring it, which is a whole other issue. But you're going to come back, you're going to host your parties, and you're going to bring in things that weren't already present in these neighborhoods. And you're going to hurt people in this neighborhood more than you're probably going to hurt yourselves. COVID time is a time to be selfless, not selfish. It is perfectly okay to want to take care of yourself and your mental well-being and your physical well-being. But you also need to remember that COVID has us so intricately intertwined together now that whatever I do can definitely impact whoever's next to me, can definitely impact whoever next to them and whoever they see. You need to keep that mindset that we are now in a web. It is no longer just you as an individual. We are in a web. And if you do not tread properly, you are going to highly potentially cause harm. And people might come and defend me. Well, I just wanted to see my friends. I just wanted to have a good time and everything like that. You can have a good time inside though. Like, there's so many things you can do. Stay inside. That's the one thing that you can do. Just stay inside. It's hard. I'm not perfect. Definitely. I've definitely seen my friends. But my friends were tested for COVID. They were all negative. I was tested for COVID. I was negative. We have taken the proper steps in order to make sure that we're keeping each other safe. And I've never seen more than 3 people max at one time. Never. During this entire time, I've never seen more than 3 people max. I've kept to myself, or I've kept it to my family, or I've kept to my friends, like my close friends. Other than that, I haven't seen anybody. It's not impossible to stay inside. And if you really need to see people, then like I'm doing, limit the numbers of the people that you are seeing. It shouldn't be more than 5 people that you're seeing at once. Maybe 10, if you want to be liberal about it. After 10 people, then it's a whole party. Like, you can't be doing this. Because there's no way for you all to be safe. And are you requiring that your friends get tested before you come and meet them? These are things that you need to have conversations with. I know one person told me that they said that they asked their friends to test before they came to their birthday party, and some of their friends protested, saying, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, what's wrong with doing that? Like, there's so many ways to get tested these days, and if you're not going to do that for the sake of my well-being, then you really shouldn't be around me. School is starting, so back to Temple students and other college students, please be mindful of the neighborhoods you are about to start reoccupying. Please be mindful of them. I am begging you, because the last thing that these people need for us is to bring a disease around them. That is the last thing that they need. And if all of this fails and you guys don't take anything from this video, and you don't care about what the hell I have to say, do not broadcast your little functions on social media at least. It's the least you can do. Move in silence. Function in silence. Party in silence. Nobody needs to see y'all being selfish on the timeline. Like, you don't know how many people I've muted recently because I just don't get how rude and inconsiderate you could be to not only go out in such a capacity, but to then post it as if everything's normal. So if you're not gonna follow wearing a mask, if you're not gonna follow social distancing rules, if you're not gonna stay inside, the least you could do is keep it to yourself. Keep your selfishness to yourself. That's all I have for today. Gonna put some links down below. Like I said, I'm sorry if this was a bit rushed. I do have training that I have to go to. I know I was gonna put some stories that people shared with me, but I cannot do that, so I will probably just write them down in the description box if you're curious about reading them. Please wear a mask, social distance, stay inside, stay safe, and I will see you very, very soon. All right? Goodbye.
Get to the money. Gotta keep it 100. Leaving you ain't really took nothing from me. So don't come looking for me. I'm that bitch and I have it. You forgot, but